Welcome to the R3 Network Interview Corner Episode 2. My name is Ryan Praser and we are here to be introducing you to new and upcoming talent. We're going to be sharing new ideas and projects as well as explaining art from the artists themselves. Now, one of these artists is here with us today, Noah Tortelli. Introduce yourself.
Hello, welcome everyone. Hello, I am Noah Tortelli. As I usually say, Noah like Noah's Ark and Tortelli like tortellini, like the pasta, but not quite.
Yeah.
And I'm half Italian and half American.
Okay, cool.
I was born in Tuscany, Italy, Barca, to be precise.
What's it like there?
And it's really nice. It's a small town. It's a really nice community there, like a small community that it really integrates everyone there. Yeah. It's really nice.
Nice.
But my mother is from Hershey, Pennsylvania, where they make the chocolate in the States.
So Hershey's nice. So where's most of your influence from? Is it Italian or American? Where would you say?
I usually answer that since I've done my studies in Italy, it's mostly that like my rational side is more influenced from my Italian side.
Right.
And my more intuitive and instinctive side is a bit more American, I would say.
Okay, cool.
So I'm a bit of a mix, let's say.
So what is it that you do, Noah? Why have I got you here? Why am I interviewing you today?
Well, I believe you got me here because I'm one of the artists here in Prague that's trying to make a living out of it, but it's not just about that. It's mostly because I feel it mostly as a mission, let's say, as something I really feel I need to do in my life.
Before we get there, but what actually is it that you do?
Well, I am mostly singing and playing in restaurants and pubs.
Right, so
and,
you're a musician.
Clubs.
This is what I was going for. So you're a musician, you play guitar, right?
Yes.
What other instruments do you play?
So I'm mostly a singer-songwriter, and I'm playing a guitar, usually a 12-string guitar, acoustic, or a Telecaster, Fender Telecaster, and I play harmonica with it.
Okay.
And I do my solos with harmonica usually.
Okay, so is it like mostly original music, or are you...
Well, it depends also on the venue, but it's mostly original music, and the covers I do is mostly like some more like old school kind of folk, or like some stuff, like mostly older stuff.
Right. So, how long have you been doing it then?
Well, it depends, because like actually been doing it as my main thing, let's say it's 2-3 years, but actually like playing and writing songs, it's more than 10 years for sure.
More than 10 years?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So your main instrument, then the 12-string guitar. I've seen you play before, and Noah has this set where he'll play with a 12-string guitar, a harmonica, and he'll sing some beautiful folk songs. It's atmospheric, it's high, it's dainty, you're soaring very high through melodies. It's really nice stuff. So tell me a little bit about your style. How would you describe it to someone else?
Well, it also depends on, as I said, on the set I do, but my style is usually quite jumpy, I would define it. Because
jumpy?
It takes a lot from funky, it takes a lot from Jamaican music.
Right.
Has a lot of upbeat and syncopated things that I feel can be considered jumpy, let's say.
Okay, so this would be one of your other sets, maybe somewhere like Žokovna or something.
Yeah, exactly. Well, on the other hand, like other sets, while it's more like restaurant sets, it's more like folk, more or less, and I don't know, like
background music.
Background music.
Yeah, non-offensive, like
sort of. Like say like Pogues or Van Morrison, Bob Dylan.
So how do you feel about playing this sort of stuff though?
Well, for me it's good to play all sorts of stuff that I play, basically, like, because if I play it, it means I love to play it and I like it, because I feel in order to actually feel a connection and have a good feedback from the audience, you really need to, they really need to feel that you're actually loving what you're doing.
Yeah, sure,
and
exactly.
Because I feel like if you get goosebumps, it's easier to have them get goosebumps.
Everything feels more strengthful, more powerful when it's real.
Exactly.
Right? So if you're feeling something, if you're sharing an emotion with somebody, of course it's going to be more powerful. They're going to remember you.
Exactly.
Now, like I say, you've got some original music. Is there anything that you're particularly proud of? One particular project or a song that you've particularly done?
There's like one song in particular that I'm really proud of, that I'm usually not playing in restaurants though, because it's very, very energetic, and and it's a social experiment called V-Circles.
V-Circles.
Yeah, it's about how like the feedback goes back and forth, usually creating a vicious circle that sucks you down. But if we actually put a feedback with more awareness and we make it become a virtuous circle instead, that's why it's a V-circle, you can actually make a really big difference, because the circle starts coming back.
Sound.
And it's in the music, it's a social experiment, because you have that interacting with the public, clapping their hands, or dancing or whatnot. But really it's a social experiment, but that wants to have a broader concept. That wants to give an idea of, hey, wait a second, in life in general, this happens all the time. You know, the more I talk to you in a certain way, the more we connect in a certain way, and you know, and
circle goes on.
Exactly.
So like what you're doing with this song is actually playing with feedback.
Yeah.
Right. So you're using, for those of you that don't know what feedback is, it's when the microphone picks up what the microphone has already picked up and starts to feedback on itself. It repeats in that vicious loop.
Exactly.
So what you're doing is you're using the sounds
not exactly,
on top of each
because
other.
Feedback, that's the technical explanation of feedback.
This is what I understood.
But
what were you talking about
Because
then?
feedback is, in this case, it's more of a psychological thing. It's another kind of feedback. It's between feedback between people that has the same kind of thing, you know.
Oh, so it's just like a call and response.
Exactly,
type
and
event.
like in particular in the song, I have the part when I ask for feedback to clap their hands. I say, feedback, oh, give it back. See what you're giving back, oh, giving it back.
All right.
Feedback, oh, give it back. See what you're giving back.
Okay,
oh, giving
cool,
it back.
nice. So you're actually using the physics of the song to influence the content of the song.
Exactly.
That's pretty cool. Nice, nice. So let's talk about some other people that you know, Noah.
Yeah.
Right? You've been around for a while. You've said you've done music for a long time, 10 years, 2 or 3 years properly.
Yeah,
you've been in Prague for a while now. Let's talk about some of your friends in the business that you've met through Italy. Have you been to America, traveled to America?
Oh yeah,
as well?
I've been to America, but like in the last 10 years only twice, like only to see family, so I wouldn't really consider that much.
Okay, so let's talk about any friends in the business that you have. Let's talk about some special experiences, anything like this.
Yeah, for example, like my first official video was shot from my good friend Giacomo Castellano, who he was actually working and is nowadays still working with really, really famous people in Italy and Spain. And he's mostly a guitar player. And
you want to name drop some more, or
what? You
want to name drop some more, of these famous players?
Yeah, and also like I have a friend called Paolo, which I can't talk about too much because he is very, very famous in the UK. And yeah, he's I can say his name, I believe. He's Paolo Nutini, that I've been knowing like mostly his sister since we were kids. Okay. Because he's originally from my hometown Barga, which is the most Scottish town in Italy.
Okay.
And he's been coming every
The most
summer.
Scottish town in Italy.
Yes, indeed.
How is that?
Because
wait, we'll come back to that first.
Okay,
Let's talk about your friends first. Let's get to the original question. So these friends like Paolo, the Castellano, Giacomo, all of the others, what have they been aiming to do in the music industry? Why are these the people that you've been drawn to?
Well, because they're very serious about what they're doing in a good way, you know, like they definitely know what they're doing, where they're going, and that was a really, really huge source of inspiration for me. And especially in case of Giacomo, he's a great teacher for me, both as a guitar player and as a video maker, and somebody who really has an eye on how it all works. And Paolo, on the other hand, is a huge inspiration, also like human-wise, and as a singer. Me being a singer myself and a songwriter, he was a huge inspiration and teacher when we were hanging out, like back in the day.
Awesome. So it's cool that you've like sort of used the people around you to boost yourself, gain some skills from them, and things like that. That's kind of what we want to be doing here with the R3 project. Okay, you've probably seen the first interview I did with Marley.
Yes, I did, of course.
Right, so she's in a project with you at the moment, is she not?
Indeed.
Tell us a little bit more.
So yeah, she's in my project as a bass player and a backup vocalist. We're harmonizing together, and it's more of a, as I say, more of a jumpy kind of style. For now, it's guitar, bass, and drums, and with her doing backup vocals. We just basically lost a flute player.
Yeah, you're looking for a flute player.
Yeah, we're looking for a flute player.
As well as a cello player.
Yeah, or a cello player. We'll have to figure out what, the fourth exotic instrument is going to be.
Yeah.
So we have to figure that out.
I think you need an ocarina in there. I said it to Marley last time.
I actually was like learning the ocarina back at home in Italy.
So like you play the harmonica, you play the 12 string as well. Yeah. Would you ever consider teaching these instruments?
Definitely. And especially I would definitely consider teaching singing, based and mixed with meditation, because that's what I've also been teaching already. Because I've done a holistics academy at the same time when I was doing a music academy in Tuscany. And the holistic academy was mostly about meditation, about feeling what's inside, noticing also how the body can actually like communicate certain things, and also seeing how it's all connected really with the breathing, and how all the mind, the breathing, and the body is all really one, and it's all really connected.
Yeah, the whole art of performance is there's a lot of skills in there, and you can take any aspect of it and take it to another level.
Yeah, you have to put it all together. We have to bring it up all together from my perspective, and that's why I'm putting it all together and doing both meditation classes and also like teaching singing through meditation.
So what we were going to be looking to do in the future is we're going to be looking to introduce people to new skills, new talents, new instruments, and would you be willing to sit in a room with somebody for 20 minutes, maybe speaking Italian? Do you speak some other languages?
Yeah, I speak Italian, Spanish, and English, and a bit of Czech.
There you go.
Not that much, but
imagine you get an Italian, Spanish, Czech, and an Englishman in a room, and then they all want to learn a 12-string guitar and harmonica. You can spend 20 minutes with them, teach them in their native tongue.
Definitely, maybe
and they've got a new skill. Now, yeah, eventually Czech. Sure. I think we're all struggling on that one. It's a very difficult language. So we've talked a lot about music and people and how people changed their views based on their music, based on what they want to do. Now, tell me how music has changed people's lives. All right, so we talked about your friends earlier. We've talked about your band. First, let's talk about you. How did music change your life?
Well, music changed my life. And yes, I have goosebumps now that you just asked these questions. Because if it wasn't for music, like, I probably wouldn't have made it so far. At least I wouldn't have been so positive, you know, about things. At least because like people like Bob Marley, for example, for me, or like the Clash, the Smiths, you know, all these people always trying to like taking something and finding the resource within that thing and putting it in a song, you know?
Yeah. Finding the essence and the heart of something.
Exactly. And like, for example, you have a struggle or something, and in the struggle you end up finding a resource and putting in a song so that everybody else can actually
take from that experience and empathize and sympathize. It's connection, it's communication on another level that like just words or just body cannot do.
Exactly.
I agree completely.
And that's exactly why I believe not just music but in art in general, as my teacher, my really good teacher back in Italy always says of the, I don't know in English if it's correct, but the salvific value of art, of how it saves you, it saves people. Art can save people because it really can save your inside. When you feel that it's all crumbling down, it can give you something to rebuild.
So one of my inspirations forever is Otep Shamaya. She's a Californian rap metal rock artist who's written some poetry. She's an activist. She's got a great positive life trying to change the world in a good way, okay? But her music is violent, it's angry. Yeah. It communicates destruction and anarchy and a lot of death. But this is an ideological standpoint, you know, it's death to ideas, it's old ideas and stagnant concepts, and this is her main phrase is art saves.
Yes.
Okay.
So there you go.
And when I first started my career as like a poet, I started my career as Sevastra, the poet, which is art saves backwards, because you know I'm artistic. You know? It's all about stealing ideas and making them better, all right?
Well, it's like more than stealing, I prefer saying finding inspiration.
Finding inspiration, yeah, paying homage to
And
homage.
for me, it's mostly about inputs, and that's another thing I really wanted to talk about, because seeing how we're all really different, we all really need different things within art and from art, right?
Yeah.
So like if I'm a really like, you know, like a really passive person, really introspective and shy, I need something that really gives me the charge to just break through and break out. And perhaps I need to just scream out and just and scream it all out. On the other hand, if I'm already too much like that, perhaps I would need something to, you know, chill me up a little bit. So and that's why it's about giving inputs, I think, because we can't change the world by changing people. We can change the world by changing ourselves, and therefore we can do that by giving inputs though and helping each other do so.
Yeah, so that's it. If you find a moment to strike with somebody's emotions that resonates with them, it creates this whole discord of like of betterness, you know, betterment. It's a striving for something bigger, something better that includes everybody. It's really cool stuff, man.
Yes.
I've got a couple more questions for you as the birds fly away. So, can you, do you make a living from your art?
Well, that's a tricky question because at the moment it goes in moments. You know, like these past weeks I did, the past 2 weeks, the previous month I didn't. You know, so that's why, like, for now, like, being an artist, especially when you want to make things better for not just yourself but for others, it's also harder to get more income from that because you're thinking much less about yourself and thinking much more about, like, more of community-wise. So that's why I also have a part-time job, sometimes helping a friend at paintball.
Okay.
Which is kind of cool.
So you have like a paintballing community as well that you hang out with?
I'm basically like working there, sometimes helping out a friend, you know, just like making sure nobody gets hurt, so just having fun there.
So yeah, it's extra stuff on the side to keep your art flowing.
My main goal going.
All right, so with all of this that we've talked about, with everything about your friends and success and groups and community, what's one thing that you think artists and musicians should do more of?
Well, as I said, they should definitely look more within themselves instead of pointing fingers with each other. But also, when you're looking at each other, instead of doing so to point fingers, looking at each other to say, hey, maybe I can help that guy do what he's doing somehow, or help him get him through his day, you know, so without him having to ask, you know, perhaps.
There's something really interesting going on in the rap world right now. I can't remember who exactly it was, but there's a trend for the past 3 or 4 years where instead of doing diss tracks, people are doing hype tracks for one another. Right, so especially in the UK grime scene, there's a group of people like the Grime Scene Investigation, whoever it is that Temper T, JME, whoever it is at the moment who's currently in a group, but they get together and instead of doing diss tracks, they do hype tracks for their mate. You know, like, this guy's so good, he's gonna get you off your face on all his lyrics. Look at him, he's gonna smack you up with all his lyrics, but he's a great guy, you know? This is all the kind of stuff, and people are genuinely hyping each other up. And it's better.
It is.
It's better.
It is.
Right?
It is.
So I think gradually we are gonna see these trends come into different arts and music, and people like yourself should start doing it. We're gonna do it together with the R3 project, all right? Yeah. Now, another thing that musicians should do less of, we said about tearing each other down and pointing fingers, but something else. Something else we should do less? Perhaps, since we're in Prague, perhaps drinking less? Yeah, sure. So that could tie into something else, all right? So I have a point to make here, all right? And it's respecting people's time, okay? So if somebody books you for a gig or for something that they want to do and you don't turn up on time, that means that their thing can't start on time. That means the next act can't start on time. You screw up a lot of things for a lot of people when you don't turn up to something you've booked for, or when you don't, like, keep to your commitments. So how do we reward people who have this respect? Like, in your eyes, like these people that have the respect, turn up every day on time with the equipment that they need, with the people that are going to help them promote, with some kind of support. So it's not just the promoter doing the work, but it's not just them doing the work either. Like, how do we kind of communicate this message to people?
Well, as I was saying before, it has to do with what I was saying before about feedback, I think, as well. You know, the more these people we're going to be respectful with each other, the more we're going to actually keep our word and be there for each other, the more we're going to have this loop that is going to become better
knowing
and better.
Each other, I guess.
Knowing each other, The more people are going to bail out on each other and not show up and these kind of things, and the less they'll end up having opportunities, especially since it's also a small community of musicians in Prague. So we all know each other in the end, you know.
So exactly, like we can all use our own independent skills to build on each other's projects and make them bigger, and then in return we get respect, and that should be how it works. And weaknesses. That should be how it works, and it could be one day soon. All right, so final question for you. Now, integrating communities is what we've talked about a lot here. We've spoken about businesses like Shishka, we've spoken about some other places around Prague privately. Now tell me how communities in Prague, creative communities, can and will develop together to make everything better.
Well, I see this trend already happening, like with Amazing Chavna and Zizka, for example. The last year they were doing together with the Meander, for example, this festival outside of Prague. This year, Amazing Chavna is renovating, so they're still not like ready to they're not doing the festival this year. But Zizka like is really great place, for example, to like exchange ideas. And for me, both of these places are kind of like a second home. Yeah. And that's why it's good that we're gonna have also R3 coming up. Definitely great, because it's good to have more and more of these places where people can actually, like, you know, connect and exchange ideas, and as I said, exchange skills and
grow together.
And grow together, exactly. Yeah. Because my strength can like I can help you with my strength, and which you're not that good at, you know, is something.
Exactly. And you can teach me 12 string. I can teach you how to sing.
Exactly. Not sure about the singing part, but
all right, so that will wrap it up. All right, dude, I'm kidding. So I want to thank you very much for joining me on the R3 network. Have you got anything else that you want to plug, shout out for the people out there?
Yeah, if you just keep up, like, you know, keep a look at what we're gonna do with Kintsugi, and on my solo career as Noah Tortelli, like big things coming up. Probably a bit slowly, since now we're gonna have to find another fourth element in Kintsugi.
It's all right, man. We'll get there. I'll help you. We'll get there together. So thank you very much for listening to the Interview Corner. We'll be back very soon with more videos. Thanks to Noah Tortelli, and that is respect.